Wow, that castle's so cool. Okay, so it says that the castle was built in the 10th century.
It's a Templar castle. Here's the church of this little town with around 50 houses. This is the entry to the town. This is the castle. There is a tower, one of the towers. There was an arch here to enter the town, and here, this building, locals told me, this is the prison. There was a prison in the castle until recently, actually. There's the entry of the castle. This for a little while was also a border between Christian counties to the north and Muslim ones to the south until the 11th, 12th century. And now this is a UNESCO center for the preserve of the Mediterranean biosphere. You can see why in here.
The birds are really, really out. You see these birds they got? They're so cool. Why don't they all have bird this?
They are welcoming us.
Yeah. I wonder what they are. What kind of birds do you think they are? We should look those up. I don't know that many names.
Hooligans?
All I know are pigeons. Hooligans. Hooligans. Do you even know any bird names?
Yup.
Pigeon,
Bluebird.
raven, bluebird. You know, I've heard starling. I'm not really sure.
Parrot.
All right. Yeah, I don't think those are parrots.
I know. What are they called? The black birds. The crows.
Crows. They're too big, too small for crows. What are starlings? Let's look up some pictures after. What else? Who? Should I come back? Yeah. Your stuff's up here already? Yeah. Want some strawberry?
Can we have some
Watermelon? Private parking.
Why did someone park it in?
¿Está abierto?
That's a whole apartment. It's crazy how big that is.
Mom!
Pero hay metros aquí para hacer cosas.
Yeah, we're putting the movies all the way.
Y sales y tienes eso. Realmente esto puedes dejarlo como algo, podríamos hacer algo inside outside, intentar que sea lo más permeable posible. Por ejemplo, esta puerta que sea transparente también.
Sí. So, what did you think when you saw this? I mean,
Our first reaction was probably two things. The first one was obviously the site, which is amazing, and the views to the dam. The location is, amazing, with the castle and everything. So the house is located in this really, really privileged place. Once we entered, there was this kind of issue with, there was like 9 rooms that were not really connected with each other and not connected, especially towards the outside. So it's a house that has an amazing view, but it doesn't kind of open to the view.
hey.
And then also there was this issue that some of the rooms were kind of low.
And you know what I found in my room? This
Nice.
bracelet.
Nice.
No, look.
Yeah.
On the top shelf.
That's also quite common in these rural constructions here, that there was not this awareness of the surroundings. Probably these people lived off the land and they spent all their days, farming somewhere or digging somewhere or something. So when they got home, they really didn't care about, the views because they were always outside. We have the last of the 9 spaces, which is probably just a place for storage, or I don't think here it was for grain storage, but normally this was for grain, basically to dry grain and so on. So that's of course, the most magical, but only magical in the sense that you cannot do much things here unless it's your kids, which they're getting taller and taller. This is not inhabitable as it is now, you can see it. You cannot live here. So that's where we have more fun in a way, So this is the place we take all this roof out. We'll try to keep as many tiles as possible. And we make this higher. By making this higher, and is this negotiation with the municipality that are allowing us to do this. This will have the legal height to be inhabitable, but also all the great qualities that we understand that this space has, that located on the corner of the house with a better sun orientation, and of course the better views towards the town and also the dam. We're making it 1 meter higher. We keep these walls, but on the base of these walls we start the new roof walls, and therefore we have 5 big windows. So you can ventilate the space, but also have the great views to the side. And all this structure is all timber. Obviously, that's why they used timber, because it was a great structural element back then, but also because it's lighter and therefore it's easier to just lift and cheaper to lift here in this height.
There was a moment where we talked about having it all glass,
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
That didn't become possible now.
Yeah. That's also the kind of the local constraint in terms of the municipality requirements. Again, this is kind of a protected area because there's a natural park. All these dam areas, a natural park, and therefore they want to keep the kind of character of the houses, and they didn't like us to have these basically huge glass facades. And that's why we had to kind of balance, what the desires and the possibilities as always. But we're pretty happy of the result. Bueno, sí, es una buena ventana, ¿eh? And the out just gets in, it's a view of the. I do like the feeling also that it feels very light because it's wooden and it's very open. You sort of project the views towards the natural landscape, but then you have the rural, aspect of it, the little village, which is something very difficult to get. Something as consistent and as protected and big enough, but not that big as this thing.
Entonces aquí la fachada sur se abre mucho más con todo este ventanal. También se ha intentado favorecer la ventilación cruzada, por esto hay ventanas en la fachada oeste, ventanas en la fachada sur y una pequeña ventana en la fachada norte, que es la ventana con un sistema opaco solo para ventilar. Y aquí se puede ver debajo del pavimento, ¿no? El mismo aislante de fibra de madera que ponemos como revestimiento en las paredes. Aquí hay 10 centímetros, en el pavimento también hay 9-10 centímetros. Y en el techo pues hay 24 centímetros de aislamiento. Son estas placas de fibra de madera que están encoladas y sujetadas mecánicamente con estos tornillos.
Entonces, ¿esto está usado como un acabado normalmente o vosotros habéis cogido esta idea de utilizar aislamiento como un acabado?
Exacto, creo que hemos dado la vuelta al aislante, ¿no? O sea, este acabado que es más moldeable para trasdosados interiores, ¿no? En que se tapan por los dos lados, por ejemplo. En cambio aquí, como ya tenemos, digamos, todo el grosor de fachada por fuera, que ya nos protege de la lluvia, del sol, etc., por el interior, digamos que hemos mantenido este acabado del panel aislante como el propio acabado de la madera.
You move your desk. Oh, it's so much better in the corner. God, this is a great window.
I know, isn't it nice? Mm-hmm. Especially here where there's nothing like obstructing the corner.
Isn't that crazy? You rarely get windows like that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, at least I can see.
It's cool out there, isn't it?
Oh wait, I just wait. What? Oh, I thought someone was like surfing.
So basically, this side, even though it has all these views, the way buildings were traditionally built was more focused on also insulation, right? So small windows and that part of it?
It was also an economy issue because, of course, the smaller the windows, the cheaper they are, and that's an important thing.
Do you remember what this was? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah.
What was it?
That little place, an attic. Yeah, the
Tiny attic with a really low roof, right? Now you don't have to bend your head.
So the idea of having views from a house is a modern conception.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it goes way back, but it's something that was really kind of a big feature of modern architecture, basically, which is this idea of man inside a frame that is kind of looking and possessing the view and nature and so on. So here, again, we've tried to keep the character of the house, but of course opening up to the outside. But not in this kind of, maybe so much kind of treating what you see here as a spectacle.
1, 2, 3, go!
But more just kind of giving the inside more light, more ventilation. You know, so a more like a fully haptical experience, not just the view, and that's it.
Woo! Okay, the best one. Mama. The best one we have. Woo! On top of the roof. Yeah!
So here we are in the top floor. That's the level where we do a more intense transformation. Yeah.
So this was probably the only room that really tried to face outward.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably even like a newer addition. You know, this might have been a roof. So what we're doing here is we're taking all this wall out and replacing it by 2 big doors that you can fully open.
Entonces aquí ahora se está haciendo en el taller la carpintería exterior, que van a ser 2 hojas practicables corredizas.
And you got the castle and the church behind. The entry to the castle is through the road. The cyclist.
See that black thing in the water?
Moving, right?
Oh my gosh, Nick's the first fish I've seen.
I've seen more yesterday. I was
Huge! 4 big ones right there and then 1 back there. You see them?
There's more. There's like 8.
Look at all those.
Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait,
Is this your bedroom, Shane?
I didn't see it. What? Yeah.
Nice bedroom.
Can you run to the dagger and unpack this and then put it there?
Here we're kind of approaching the section of the house which is not actually inhabitable. Ceilings are quite low, and you'll see it here, where we are taking a part of the floor. And I mean, we're doing this for an obvious reason, that otherwise this space is a wasted space. So this ceiling goes out, and this is going on a slope, so this space is quite high. And then once it gets too low, we just take it out. Communicate it with the kitchen underneath.
Y ahora, al descubrir no tan solo los falsos techos, sino quitar todo este tramo de forjado, pues este doble espacio con esta barandilla estructural de madera nos da mucha más relación interior.
You want to come down? Help me cook?
I was good to eat.
No.
This, in a way, was kind of this, this extra space. Probably they stored old furniture and some food and so on, but there was not something that was kind of inhabited normally.
So since there is a difference between the street level and the level of this part of the facade, then that's probably rock, right? Or
Yeah. We can see it. I mean, you can see it here. Yeah, you see it here and here. There's an issue with salinity and humidity, which is something also that we have worked with. So the idea with this basement is also that it's more permeable. For example, here there is no door, there will be a door here. That's a third room in the basement, which is currently a garage. So here this stair has to go out because it doesn't allow any communication between the rooms, and it appears upstairs in a place which is rather strange.
And this becomes a living space now.
Yeah. And of course, just once we put a door with the door and this also this part that you can open and it's all both glass, the quality of the space totally changes because it's ventilated, it has this view, it has the light. So it's just by changing a door you can transform a space in this case.
And it's important the context because you do have this, not cobblestone, but slate ground, and you have beautiful houses all around. There's something...
Yeah, you don't need to hide from your neighbors, you don't need to fear your neighbors in a way. Hopefully there's this idea that we all have here in the Mediterranean, that you can take out a chair here and it's fine and nobody it's fine. It's within our culture in a way. And also expanding the house in this kind of very interesting spaces that you have. So using the street as part of the inhabitable space. There's not this kind of strong separation between house and street. There's a much more dynamic flow, and organic and natural. And
Bueno, pasado unos meses de obras, estamos un poco más de la mitad de las obras. Entonces, la primera diferencia es este nuevo paso que hemos ampliado, también para que pueda haber mucha más conexión con la calle. Otros de los cambios que hemos hecho es toda esta nueva fachada sud, que antes era como muy opaca o poco reaccionaria a lo que le pasaba en el entorno, pues ahora hay muchas nuevas aperturas. Cuando estamos en el proceso, digamos, de saneamiento, pero también de apertura de las nuevas puertas y accesos, descubrimos este arco. Era una puerta rectangular, típica y muy oscura. Se descubrió pues este arco y las pilastras de piedra. Este era el espacio de en medio de la planta sótano, que no tenía relación con el garaje. Ahora lo que se ha hecho es una actuación, digamos, horizontal.
We had three spaces here. There's a cellar, there was this storage room, and then there was a parking. The parking maybe at the beginning was used for a carriage and tools for working the land. Then when we bought it,
This space was a big storage area with a central place to park a car. But the working area, the only way to get into this second room was through the outside. You would do that, why? Because maybe if you want to keep animals.
That's all rock? Or is there
It's
some?
rock.
All of it? A little bit of lime in there and that's it, right?
Yeah. A long time ago, there was an animal probably.
So maybe these are the stables.
Attached. Maybe this could have been the stables back in the day. This last area was kept the most raw in the whole house. It wasn't touched. I think it probably that brick that came afterwards was built for foundation purposes. Here you can see how they actually needed to carve in the rock. This is a big rock. This is crumbling, lime and stuff. And then this brick is more modern than this other terracotta brick, which could be from a long time ago. In my opinion, there is an aesthetic advantage. This house works almost like a gradient of intervention. It goes from the most primitive and raw at the bottom to the lightest and more sophisticated or more revamped on top.
It's a tourbillon.
Oh, it's nice, huh?
Because this one is rock, brick and mortar, walls that have never been painted with chemical paint. They were plastered with lime that just got old over time. So to me, this is almost like art. It feels very organic and very, I feel I'm in almost like in an art gallery. For example, here, this wall in front where I'm working, it's just so many stories and textures. You know, there is a bare wall, and then there is the lime plaster from decades ago, the cement, there is the rock part, but also I have the stove. It smells like wood. I have the feeling I'm in a place that is inspiring. This house has some big statements that are not easy. The previous owner installed cement beams some decades ago. So the architects came and they saw this intervention that was not that country house type of intervention. They had a challenge, which was, what do we do with cement beams? Do we hide them, or do we do as modern architecture try to do, which is let's expose the structure as it is, and instead of just hiding it, let's celebrate it. This is the cheapest, actually these cement blocks, you normally don't see them, but here there is a lot of ingenuity in the way they use these blocks, because they needed a structural element to hold the new beams. And then other things such as how the electricity is installed, which is, you know, you have a block, two positions, one position, you don't need any service, the other position, you just flip it, and then you have the two holes. You can cover one of the holes, the other you can leave it like this if you want to. It's going to give you not only perspective but a place to put things inside, for example. And then the other, you feel the electricity goes inside. You can see that the way the cables go is very honest. It's always shown. You need a lamp, well, you need a lamp or the minimum expression of lamp, right? And it works, you know, it's a bulb, that works. You can bring it to different places where you need it, or you can change it, and actually you can use the same system for, you know, building something that has more lights. This is another of the architect's proposals. It was complicated for us to kind of like make sense of so many bulbs, but especially in this floor, I do think that it does have an interesting perspective of things. Here we start moving things around a little bit more, because here we find, like 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms, including a kitchen and a toilet. They are good in size, but not very well connected. So what we are doing here is basically taking all these walls out and turning all this into one big space. This central space here will still be the kitchen, but all this goes out. We keep the fireplace. This is kind of a narrow passage, so once we take all this out, whenever we do this, widen these doors or make these doors new, then it creates these kind of deep thresholds where you can not only kind of be aware that you're going from one space to the other, but actually that contain all the services, water, electricity, and so on.
O sea, todos estos muros se introducen en las instalaciones. Lo que hacemos es quitar una pieza cerámica, se pone el cajetín de instalaciones para los interruptores, enchufes o puntos de luz. Este mismo bloque nos permite hacer no tan solo todo lo que son las encimeras, pues para la vitrocerámica o para las picas y lavaplatos y rentadora, sino también usar el mismo material como propio revestimiento que se va a usar por el baño, con todo el plato de ducha, o los pavimentos del propio baño también.
Oh no, not here.
Ahora, respecto al inicio, hemos ganado pues, en amplitud, en relación de espacios y sobre todo de ventanas, ¿no? Por ejemplo, esta nueva apertura, que es exactamente la misma apertura, la tenemos aquí con otras vistas muy diferentes, ¿no? En un mismo espacio tienes una visión como muy cercana del pueblo y muy rústica a una casi de parque natural, ¿no? Bueno, que es un espacio protegido.
This view is great. And they're bigger, right? Feels bigger or something. Yeah, man. Amazing. Interesting, the brick stuff. Do you like it? It's a lot. Bathroom, kitchen all together. I mean, right now it's not closed off, right?
I think we need to push for a whitewash too.
Inside, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess for outside.
I think so.
I like the texture here. It's natural lime mixed with water on top of clay brick.
Oh, it's lime?
It's lime. It's a mortero de cal. It's the old way of finishing exteriors, especially exteriors of houses across some places in the Mediterranean. We were working on this facade because actually the house had all concrete, like concrete in bad shape, so they had to just take the concrete out. This is a traditional treatment. It's lime, it's mortar, so it's lime and water basically, and it doesn't even have pigment.
Do you like sleeping down here? Do you think this works as a bedroom?
Yeah, you are in an ideal scenario. Natural light and access to the street, connection to the rest of the house, also thermal mass, so you know that in summertime and in really cold winter situations you are going to be in a stable temperature. And in this case thermal mass is just overwhelming. It's because we built against rock. So this bottom floor, we can notice how the main street that goes all the way to the castle and the church, it's starting to reach this level at the beginning of the house. You have to go to this level, to the first floor, to go in the street on the other side. So this is the street on the other side. This height is the street on the other side. What you see there on the north side is rock, pure rock. It's not brick and mortar. So thermal mass being on rock is good. In the future, once you grow older or your kids
also grow older and seeing how the house might evolve, how these spaces can accommodate all these changes.
So sometimes I'm working and I see somebody coming.
Precisely because there is no stasis or there is no kind of constant in a way, the space and the place needs to be a constant.
See, Mom, there's a bird. There's a bird. Who just came out of the water.
Yeah.
Went in the water. And now it's gonna come out. Oh, Mom, the birds are back.
Oh yeah, there's so many birds.
The birds are back. Oh yeah, they're back.
Not only kind of mentally, there is this constant reference to a home or a place that you can come back in a way. You know, your kids, you have this reference here, this kind of center of the earth in a way.
I'm not flying anymore. Quit. Why?
And we understand that this is done because the house can change, but also because the quality, again, of the very, very simple things, light, ventilation, humidity, temperature, these very basic human things are there, and the house gives you there. These things are always here.
If you lie down and just look at the thing, you look like you're on a boat, bro. If you look down, you don't feel like.
What changes is how you use the space.
We figured it out.
What'd you figure out?
The one we took out?
Ooh, it's burning. It's totally burning. Turn it off, Shane. Turn it off. You can smell it burning. Turn it off.
So you change, and then the house changes with you, but it changes less. And of course, home is an idea. Of course, it's a different thing for everyone. But we try to approach it in a way that we understand that home is actually more the people that you live with.
I think we found the one bird that we've been seeing. What's it called again?
Of course, your family, but your friends, the people you love, that's what we understand is home. And then there is this kind of place that you go back to. And you need a place to go back to, and that's this place. The idea of home is alive in a way.